Hey everyone, how's it going? So this past week we were at a big reseller event in Las Vegas. It was called the Boss Reseller Remix. The event was awesome, but we also were able to reconnect with some of our very, very good friends, Chaz and Trista from the Side Hustle Network. So in today's video, we sat down with them and we had a really nice conversation talking about a bunch of different things in our lives, how to run a business while still having a family, how they're running a successful Amazon FBA fulfillment center. There's a ton of really good takeaways in today's video. It's more of like a podcast style, so feel free to put it on in the background while you do other things, but I hope you enjoy this style of video, and if you do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, and here we go. Let's get into it.
Do you guys even have a YouTube channel?
What's YouTube? What's YouTube? No, but seriously, what is YouTube?
Is your plan to start making more videos again?
Yeah, 100%.
Sweet. About
they
Amazon?
They just had a baby 3 years ago.
You'll be one of those.
No time for that.
You'll be one of those people that's like,
Rolling
oh.
Sweet.
You'll be one of those people that, oh, I work out. It's like, oh yeah, you do? It's like, yeah, well, I stopped because I had a big kid, and then, oh,
Dude,
how old's your kid?
You need to stop working out. I'm over it.
So am I. Oh my God. I'm over the guilt.
Oh,
fair.
Allie does
fair.
the same thing though. She'll go for like a casual 8-mile rollerblade, and then come home and be like, "Oh, you're not going to work out today?"
No, I don't say it. I just give him the look.
He like gives me crap about like not drinking water. Coffee starts as water.
I'm sorry, but when you start your day with I have a
starts-
headache.
And wine too.
Thank you.
No, those
Exactly.
grapes. Never mind.
There's water in grapes.
Beer starts as water.
Does it?
I don't know.
Ish.
Let's say yes.
There's a lot of
The
sugar
whiskey in the
it.
background of the shot, though. Am I right?
Shut up. Oh, you're blocking
I'm
it.
sorry.
No one cares about eBay.
Yeah, turn that around.
Turn that around.
Buffalo Trace.
It's not about
Ta-da.
selling.
Not
So-
sponsored.
But you guys are, you have a eBay fulfillment service now.
Correct.
Yeah, which is crazy because
We ship a few things.
Yeah, so you had your Amazon fulfillment service, which is still, so talk about that business for a second, because we don't really get to talk to people very often who do businesses outside of, hey, I found this at a thrift store and I sold it on eBay.
Yeah.
Can we rewind a little bit and tell everyone who you are?
Oh.
Because I don't think we did that yet.
No.
Okay.
I'll pop it up or something.
Okay.
Leave people guessing.
Yes, like who are these people? Everyone has to know
Yeah,
who you are.
I guess tell
But
people who you
I'm
are.
We do more.
Trista.
I'm Charles.
In charge.
We're married.
Judge.
Yeah.
I'm
Ew.
married to one.
Ew. Gross.
The Side Hustle Network.
The Side Hustle Network.
Not Side Hustle.
Well,
Network.
someone on Instagram has Side Hustle Network.
They stole it.
No.
Well, they had it first.
Oh.
Yeah.
I bought the domain, YouTube channel name, all that stuff. And I went to Instagram, Side Hustle Network taken, messaged them, hey, I'm willing to buy this. You can't do that, but message them.
Did you offer to fight them for it?
No, that might work.
Yeah.
You can outrun them for it.
6 months, let's go.
Let's do it.
So how long have you had the FBA fulfillment in Oregon?
We've been running that. This December will be 3 years.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We've been running it for a while.
How many units have you shipped out of there?
We just did these numbers.
We did this data a couple weeks
Perfect.
back.
Yeah.
We're almost crossing a huge milestone, which we had no idea was even close to this. We're almost to 1 million units.
Get out of here.
No.
1 million?
That's crazy, right?
That's
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
a lot more than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at the time we ran it, it was almost 800,000. We've shipped quite a few since
That's
then.
insane.
Yeah. So that's crazy. We weren't really even.
No, I
It's
double
funny
checked
when
the
you're
numbers.
You're just shipping and you don't really pay attention to the numbers. We have daily and monthly quotas that we need to hit, and we keep a really close eye on that, especially being far away from the center now. So we like kind of watch those numbers like a hawk, but then you don't really think about the bigger picture numbers on the day-to-day. So
Yeah,
Yeah, hold.
it's crazy.
it's pretty cool to sit back and see that.
I'm not tall enough to tap this.
Sound check.
This is funny.
I feel like that's the bloopers right there.
Yeah, you did. Did you get it?
I'm gonna tap it.
Okay, tap it.
Because it's
That's what she
loose
said.
and that's what's causing the vibration.
I'm gonna laugh when it's not that one.
Oh, she's good. She's good.
That's fair.
That was fast. She
I'm
had
glad
this ready.
you did that because that would have bothered me.
Cue the
too.
applause.
Yeah.
Save. We'll work on our soundboard.
All right, so now you've moved to Texas, which was a really big move for you guys.
So crazy.
Literally
I like
a
sometimes
life-changing move.
can't believe we did that.
The business is back in Oregon, and you live in Texas.
So one of our
Warehouse.
businesses in Oregon, and then we started a new warehouse in Texas, and so we have a Amazon fulfillment center in San Antonio, and then we, not that there's ever a shortage of FBA shippers who are like sellers who want to work with us, but the dynamic is so different because like in Oregon we don't have sales tax, so that is a huge benefit.
In Texas we got 8.25.
Right.
Yeah.
What?
So that's a huge jump. So we have a clientele that's basically online arbitrage, which is buying from retail sites like Walmart, Target.
Small margins.
Yeah, small margins. So when there's 8% tagged on that, that's tough for them to do it.
Fair.
So a lot of our clientele now for the Amazon side is going to be Amazon wholesale and private label is what that's going to be.
Yeah.
But now you have eBay fulfillment.
We do.
So that's kind of one of the cool things that happened out of moving. Charles has always actually wanted to do some kind of eBay fulfillment. He's been begging me for like 2 years, like, let's just try it. But Oregon was always so busy. I mean, we have a wait list. We're never not busy up there. And so, like, moving to Texas gave us a little room to breathe and, like, think about new projects and be excited about them.
Sweet.
And so that we do ship FBA out of Texas, but it's not nearly as much as Oregon. And so we have the time to focus on eBay.
And the cool part with the eBay thing that intrigued me the most was, logistics brain. I love to piece together the best workflows and stuff like that. And this idea of cracking a code that, to our knowledge, not many, if any, have cracked, which is, can we offer an affordable service for an eBay seller that can send us product? We'll do the photos, the listing, the storage, and the shipping.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of labor, a lot of pieces of the puzzle, which my brain's like, I'm going to crack that code.
Because Amazon, all you're really doing for the people is putting the label on, packaging up.
Polybag, maybe bubble wrap,
Yeah.
sometimes a box, and then you put a label on it, put it in a big box, it's all shipped out.
Right.
Our turnaround time is a week or less for Amazon FBA.
Wow, it's fast.
So not one single item sits in that warehouse for longer than a week, whereas eBay, obviously, it's going to sit a lot longer.
And you're carrying the inventory at your warehouse, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Then it came up with, how do we custom SKU things for multiple clients, not just our stuff.
And storage fees.
Storage, what's the best way to do the storage fees? So we offer 6 months free storage, and then at this time we offer after 6 months it's 65 cents per unit per month for long-term storage fees. And then it was, how do we place the racks in the warehouse to store the boxes full of inventory? Just different logistic pieces.
I mean, it's cool that you like to do that kind of stuff.
I oddly
literally
love
my
it.
nightmare.
I oddly love it. Like, it's this location we're here at this event. We went into their back warehouse, and my brain's like,
Yeah. He does like to build things, and I think it's just like
That's awesome.
part of your brain is
anytime you want to come help us out, let us
crazy.
We'll feed ya.
Allie and Callie
We'll feed
are
you and
constantly
house you.
cleaning up after me.
Oh,
We
good.
just talked about it.
I get
actually,
wholesale, and
funny
then
enough.
my favorite part is going through it and seeing everything.
And
Yeah.
throwing
And then
the boxes everywhere.
You don't break them down as you go into it.
No.
Oh.
No, are you
Wait,
crazy?
what?
You can do that.
You do that? Husbands do that? Oh, wow. must
I'm
be nice.
actually the repeat offender on that.
We
I'll
actually-
just throw
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
and
we did it.
And how far can you eat it across the warehouse?
Yeah.
It always comes down to, and I have this same thing with my other friends, the blondes are the messy ones, and the brunettes are the
Okay.
organized
Yeah,
ones.
that's
It's really
very-
weird.
that's proven
That's
true.
true.
That's
in this
been
scenario.
proven true time and time again.
All right, I have a question.
Uh-oh.
Because this is something that no one really sees on our channel because we can never show people this.
And now we can.
We don't have kids. We don't have a family.
Oh, yes.
Right?
The
So
kid question.
I think we're kind of a unique situation. Most people have families. So how do you? What is your workflow around your family, and how do you do that?
How do you do that?
Yeah.
How do you family and work?
Yeah, a big
It's
piece
hard.
of the puzzle is my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Having the grandmas for babysitting. My parents are still up in Oregon, so they can't babysit as much. But when we were in Oregon our whole lives, my mom was watching the kids 2 days a week, 3 days a week. So the grandparents are number one tip. Like,
Yeah. I would say
we're
like,
completely lucky in that regard too, because a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah.
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 Ashley did a video and she was like, I'm happy because I'm asking for help. And that's a really important message for moms particularly, but just parents generally. Like, you have to ask for help. There's not enough hours in the day. There's not enough time to get all of the work stuff done and still spend quality time with your kids.
Right.
You need the help. So we have, and whether that's the volunteerism of grandmas or paying for help,
Right.
I can't tell you how many times I've talked to moms and it's like, I'm drowning, but I really want my business to thrive. And I told them, hire a housekeeper. Just do something to take something off of your shoulders so that you can do the things you want to do and you're passionate about.
Right.
And that's not to say we're not totally stressed out all the time, but we do get to work in the things that we love and are passionate about. And
we did make sure that our warehouse that we got had a second office room just to build out a kids room.
Oh, nice.
So they're actually with us quite often at the warehouse.
So what I was just thinking with your situation is, and even if you had employees with children, a little bit of a stipend, right? They're like, well, this much will go, every month to daycare, and then you could have a space where everyone can bring their children. You have your children.
And we actually do that.
We actually do that.
So you stick them in the room. You pay someone to watch the kids for X amount of hours, like $10 an hour to watch the kids.
Yeah, so
make sure they don't kill themselves.
That's the other thing is I think people get this this idea that your kids can't be involved in your business. And one of the things that early on, Titus has always been in our warehouse. I was photographing clothing or whatever with Isla on my front.
We've got YouTube vlogs showing Isla on the front pack.
And they like to help, and they're good at it.
And it's free labor.
Hey!
I just had Isla packaging or putting stickers on cookies a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But, involve your kids. If they want to be involved, don't ever tell them no. That is a really exciting thing to be able to show your kids how to work.
Yeah.
And
the coolest thing recently is Isla will come out, not so much Titus, he's 8 or almost 8. So he's kind of over, offering to help as much, but Isla, who's 3, she's been coming out a lot I want to help. And even though we're in the middle of stuff, it's okay, not a great time efficiency-wise.
Yeah. Every
time she comes out, we're both hey, what task can she do?
Right.
Does she carry boxes over somewhere?
Yeah.
Do you have labels she can put on something?
Yeah. Don't ever shut that down.
Yeah.
It's always an opportunity for them to grow and learn.
Yeah. And that's a curiosity thing for them too. So we view it as if a child has curiosity about something, feed into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's funny is that I tell this story all the time. When I was a kid growing up, we had a lot of garage sales because we moved around a lot. And my dad would always put a fanny pack on me, and I was the money guy. So people would have to come and negotiate with the child. And there's no negotiating with the kid. Just give me my money.
Yeah.
Right.
I win.
Yeah, exactly.
I win.
But I'm so glad that they did that and involved me in that because that was my first jump into resale, and I didn't realize it at that point. You know what I mean?
People just walk up and hand you money, bro.
Exactly. And then I got a cut. Let's go.
And when you get to be an adult, you can't just put a fanny pack on and people give you money anymore.
I mean, speak for yourself. So I want to backtrack just a little bit because we all deal with stress. This is a stressful thing that we do. Yes. It's a strange life that we all live.
It is, by choice.
Do you have any maybe 2 tips on how you guys deal with that stress?
I mean, everyone knows mine.
Yeah.
What, running 17 miles a day?
16.
Do you have any realistic tips?
Realistic for me, aside from the typical exercise, drink water, that stuff, is first thing in the morning, whether that's waking up 15 minutes earlier than everyone else does. But for me, I've got to have it. For me, it's the gym in the morning. I get up at 5:30 in the gym, 6 days a week, non-negotiable. It's literally a contract I made with myself in the last 3 months. But I do that not just to work out, but that is my grounding for the day. If I don't do that, I cannot be at my fullest capacity for the rest of the day. Trista's seen this firsthand where it's I don't go to lift weights and run and do all this stuff for the vanity of it. It's I want to look and feel good like everyone else, but it literally is my grounding for the day. It's my therapy.
There's a big difference in Jim Charles versus non-Jim Charles.
Interesting.
Hey, Jim Charles.
Jim Chad.
Jim Chad.
How did you figure that out? That was your thing?
It was a lot of yo-yoing for 10, 15 years. I put on and lost the same 20, 30 pounds like a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who doesn't struggle with that.
I'm there right now, but I'm not waking up at 5
No, it's tough. It's I didn't wake up one day, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym. It's it was just a slow buildup of I've got to start working on getting up at 6:30 instead of 8. Our boy Titus started going to school, and I want to be there to help with the morning,
Right.
to see my boy, help get him ready for school. Trista drops him off literally 2 minutes down the road, which is great. But I want to be present during that time and not just be gone. So when I was waking up at 8, I was in the gym till 10, missed that window with my kids, and then we roll into the office super late, and then we're working late. It was this constant domino effect. So for me, it was not just wake up at 5. It was, how can I get up at 7? Do that for a couple of weeks. How can I get up at 6:30?
Right.
And that worked my way over the course of the last 3 months is what it took to eventually get to 5:30 is now my internal clock. And that's my reset for the day. It's quiet, it's calm. There's like 3 people at the gym.
That's awesome.
We became best friends. This little group of 4 people at the gym, we became best friends. And that's been my grounding for each day.
Nice.
So it wasn't a switch that went off. A lot of personal trainers love to tell you, like, hey, just do it, right? Which is true to an extent, but I'm a believer in, like, take those baby steps. If it's just one day a week, you force yourself to go take a 20-minute walk in the morning, great, start there.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, walking is a really good first step.
Even if you commit to one day a week,
Yeah.
that's such a good point. And then you can commit to 2 days a week.
Yeah, and then ease into it over the course. It took me 3 months, the last 3 months, to get to where I'm at now, and it's like, physically, I've lost like 15 pounds in the last 3-4 months. I feel awesome.
Do you think that having something to train for, like you do a lot of those like obstacle course races, right? Do you think knowing that you have to do that?
100%.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I always we did one the other like a couple years ago, and we trained every week with some friends of ours because we were all doing it together. And we never really missed a day because we knew, hey, if we don't do this, we're gonna suck at this obstacle course.
Yeah, having a future event holds today accountable.
Yeah,
that's
there you go.
True. Their lifestyle
there's
changes.
5Ks everywhere all the time.
All the time.
You know what I mean? Like you can usually find something to.
So aside from that, do you have a tip on how you deal with stress as well?
I'm an introvert.
Same, actually, believe it or not.
So I
the battery drains down a little quicker.
Yeah.
So we're at this conference and there's lots of people here, and actually conversations have been really great, and I'm not really feeling as depleted as I thought I would feel. It's only day 3, but
you still got 4 days.
Yeah, I know. But I'm an introvert, and I need me time away from everybody. And it was so funny. So we just bought Charles's car. We had we were a 2-car family for 1 week, and then I got in a car accident. That week that I had 2 cars, or we had 2 cars, and I was
loved it.
driving to work by myself, I felt like
I
me again.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
I need time away from people, but I need time away from my people even, and that's so okay. You don't have to feel guilty about needing a break from your husband or your kids. And so I'll go into Starbucks with my headphones on so no one will talk to me, and drink a coffee and journal, or I'll do a thrift day. No one's allowed to come. It's just my thrift day. And so those are the ways that I
Have you ever had a day where you say no words out of your mouth?
No.
It's a beautiful thing. it's one of my favorite things.
You guys just wake up and tell each other, like, hey, today's no words day.
How did you think of this?
Allie's, it's like if Allie's staying with her mom or something, or they're like on a girls trip. Because I will not go out. I stay in the house by myself, like watching UFC on my laptop.
Not a single word comes out of your mouth.
No, I'll get phone calls and deny.
What about, like,
he
you talk to the dog?
Oh, that's a good point.
You definitely talk to the dog.
Okay,
Ryan is not drained at all from talking to the dog.
That's a good point.
At all.
Besides
still,
dog words.
Okay.
Puppy talk.
Puppy talk doesn't count as speaking.
It's
definitely not.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
But I
it's
mean,
like love.
I think knowing your partner is such a big thing, and I think
that could be a 2-hour episode right there.
It could be.
Oh my gosh, I know.
And
boundaries.
Yeah.
I know when Ryan needs a break, I throw in my headphones and I listen to an audiobook and I do my own thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But back to your question about, like, how do we do this as a family? Like, that is also, like, knowing each other's isms and, like, what he needs versus what I need.
Sure.
And, like, if he sees that I'm super stressed out, he'll just take the kids and, like, let me do my thing. If I know that he needs to get up early to go to the gym, I'll finish bedtime so he can go to bed early and make sure he gets to the gym on time. And so it's, like, having a support in life but also in business is, like, we're just so blessed. I don't know how we found each other.
Yeah.
It's so
That's
ridiculous.
awesome.
It's not common, especially nowadays.
Yeah,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and we're both so supportive of this really unconventional lifestyle. Like, you know, and people think we're crazy. You know, like, you sell people's garbage for a living. Like, you know, I can't tell you how many times my mom would send home groceries when we came to visit because she's pretty sure we
So
were
much.
starving. And, you know, like, you know, everyone's checking on us to make sure we're not dying.
Yeah. It's true, and that lasted for a year. We've been doing
Yeah.
this 7 years, and like everyone else, we started out of our garage for the first 2 years. Got our first little 500 square foot office space that we hustled out of with one very part-time employee, and just scaled our way up, you know, to where we are now. But for years, it was like, hey, do you guys need food? Are you okay?
Yeah.
How's the side hustle going?
Yeah. How's your work
That's
going?
so awesome.
So this has been 7 years in the making. Just recently, we hired on my sister full time at our Oregon center, literally
Weird.
a month ago.
Yeah.
We FaceTimed like 2 weeks ago after she had her first 2 weeks of like, she got thrown into it, full on training. She's gonna lead shipments. She FaceTimes me and she's like, I didn't know you ran a real business. We have a
You thought it
warehouse.
was gonna be fun and easy.
Because
Like,
we've got
hey.
systems in place, things are run a certain way for a reason. They have to be done to the T. It's like a franchise between our 2 locations, the same way every single time. And she FaceTimes, she's like, I didn't know you ran a real business. Because in her head and like a lot of friends and family, they get what they may like get what you do with buying and selling. They may support you, but they don't really understand it until they see it firsthand.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think for my sister to get thrown into the mix, and see, same thing with your mom, when we got a warehouse and employees and we offer health insurance and we're on payroll, that's where it's like, oh, you guys do like
Whoa.
real
Oh,
business.
wow.
So no, it's pretty funny to watch how that happens.
Yeah.
So you guys have started from scratch, same way that we did, and then you've built like a real legitimate business now. Was there a point where you were you saw like a shift in how you scaled to the next level? Because there's a lot of people who are stuck in that, you know, they're doing well, but they're not able to quit their jobs, or they're not able to pay all their bills. So where was that switch for you, and how do people get to that next level?
I don't remember the date, but I think it must have been
The exact
well,
hour.
thinking like I'm thinking in terms of it must have been about a year and a half ish ago, maybe 2 years. So I read the E-Myth Revisited. Have you guys read
I haven't, no. What was it called?
E-Myth Revisited.
E-Myth Revisited. Okay.
It's a popular book in the Amazon space. I don't think so much in the eBay space, even though like now that I've read it, we've implemented these concepts of that book and saw the curve happen, the
Interesting.
growth.
Nice.
And I don't see it much in the eBay side, or just thrifters in general, whether it's Poshmark, whatnot,
Sure.
etc.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunity.
All the
there.
information pertains to
So
Yeah.
give
the
us some
business,
sort of a
like-
tidbit from that
Yeah,
book.
the premise of the book that ultimately changed my mindset of looking at businesses. We were in a position of, when you run a fulfillment center, it's a very physical labor-based business. You're not doing a bunch of heavy lifting, but you're packaging products all day long. If you don't package, for us up in the Oregon location at the time, 1,000 items a day was the quota. So if we don't hit 1,000 items a day, we're not going to make profit. Because if we're paying $400 or $500 for the day for overhead, which is employees, utilities, rent, etc., if we don't hit at least 1,000 units a day, we're not going to make profit, right? Barely break even at that. So being that quota, we, at the time, like I think everyone goes through, is we had to hustle and grind ourselves on the tables, packaging and shipping get that done.
We've had our kids that's one of the reasons we have a playroom, is because we've had our kids at the warehouse till midnight.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like
And
we put them to bed, we put them in the car seats at midnight, we go home and we do it all again tomorrow.
And the parent guilt was so real with all that.
Yeah.
And so going through that phase of like hustle and grind, if we want to grow and make more money, we have to work more hours.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
the typical mindset
That
that
is
I
the
think
typical
everyone
mindset.
starts with.
Right.
So the E-Myth Revisited breaks down these roles that the entrepreneur plays. You have the entrepreneur, which is the creator, the thinker, the big picture person. You have the manager, who's the one in charge of running the systems that is typically created by the entrepreneur. Then you have the technician, which is the daily hands-on work, which for us is packaging and shipping the physical products, right? So it breaks down these three roles, and it talks about how it's a peg being shoved into a square hole, right?
Yeah.
And so that was the immediate, when I read that page, it was like a mental unlock where I realized I'm an entrepreneur who's a creator, logistics thinker. I love systems. I want to create systems, improve on them. And I'm trying to force myself to be a technician who's on the table packaging. That's not me, and I'm forcing myself to do that role, and that's hindering our growth. Because if I'm not in charge of doing the big picture thinking and doing what I want to do and love to do, which is creating, we're not going to grow, because I need to be the visionary that makes that shift.
Charles in charge, you could say.
Charles in charge, yeah. And I think that people assume that to be an entrepreneur or to be a business owner, you have to be all three. And for a time, that's true. You can't,
especially
you have to get off the ground. But as you establish and you get, you know, you have money left over, it's like, and I am I'm hard-headed. I want to do all of it because I will do all of it better than you.
Blondes, am I right?
I want to do all of it. Yeah. And so you have to, I had to really deconstruct that mindset and be like, you know, I'm actually not an entrepreneur. By reading that book, I realized I'm a manager. I love to see things executed. And so finding your role and honing in on that and realizing you don't have to be all three forever is really important. But I think that people just
it's like the love language book for resellers.
It literally is. And by reading that, we realized like we were at our cap with what our current capacity we were able to hit.
And you'll never grow that way because there's just too much to do, and unless you just don't sleep or eat or have a life, you know, there's no room for growth.
And I remember
what you're good at.
I remember the day that I finished the book. This was before she even, she knew I was reading another entrepreneur book. And like, you know, a lot of entrepreneurial self-help books, like you read them, get a few nuggets, and then life goes on.
Sure.
This was one of the first ones I read that literally was like an unlock in my brain.
Nice.
I started making lists of everything that I do that I shouldn't be doing, that should be going to a technician or a manager. And I need to focus my time on what's the next thing that gets us.
I should do that. I should try that.
So I literally started making these lists of things I shouldn't be wasting my time on.
It's a waste of time at that point because it's not as profitable as putting it into something more valuable.
They're pieces of this machine that we're building as a business, but they shouldn't be operated by me. I'm not the best at them. There's people way more skilled than I can be. Our manager up in Oregon will kick the crap out of both of us on prep.
Yeah.
She's so good and good with people.
That's crazy though too, is when you find someone who will actually do stuff better than you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like Callie is way better at like managing the shipping and managing the listing and keeping like stuff organized.
They keep us on track too. They call us out.
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah.
So,
I think divide and conquer.
Yeah.
And
do it all.
Allie's way better at yelling at Callie.
She's so easy to yell at. You just yell from across the room. Hi, what's your name?
No, I finished that book though, and I remember I came in that next day to the office.
Yeah.
Trista was there, and I literally told her, I'm like, I'm not going to prep anymore.
I got really upset.
She was so mad. She was pissed.
So
I literally said, I'm not prepping
anymore.
Because I was prepping the same way she was, 30, 40 hours a week, or hands are on the table getting products out.
But in my defense, we had been going through this really stressful time of like, we have to do all of it.
Yeah.
And if you slow down, I have to pick up the slack. And I went through 6 months of that. And just being mad at him all the time because I'm like, if you're not going to do this, I will.
Right.
And I won't let it fail. But it feels to me like you're letting this fail right now. And so I took it very personally.
Because there wasn't this is my game plan, this is the compensation. I'm going to step back from this scale here, but hire someone else to do this.
He had taken the time to communicate, like, this is where I'm at. This is how I'm feeling. Yeah. But I was so defensive about, like, who's going to do the work? Right. I have to do the work.
And this is from now when you read a book that literally puts you in a different thought process. We're speaking two different languages. So I told her, I literally told her, read the book. And if you still are in defense about this decision, then we'll figure it out.
So
that's where she opened it up.
Once you were both on the same page, what was the plan of action from that point? Like, did you immediately put an ad out? And
we hired 2 more people immediately.
Immediately.
Because I knew I needed to replace my hands on the tables, which was like 30 hours a week. So immediately we hired a couple preppers.
And did you see the immediate, like, weight off your shoulders?
Yes.
Just the second we put the ad out, I was like, okay, I only have to do the prep so much longer. And then, because at the time we had nothing documented. we were getting bombarded with questions by the employees every single day, all day. Hey, Inventory Lab, the software that we use.
Yeah.
Inventory Lab and Amazon are doing XYZ. There's an error. How do I fix that? I'm like, oh yeah, let me hop over. Give me a second. I'd go fix it, or Trista would go fix it.
Right.
We're always the ones like, hold on. I'll do it. Nothing was documented. The employees had no idea how any of the back end worked. And so that's when we hired the people that freed up my time, I was like, cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit down. I'm going to build out some spreadsheet stuff, build out some little training
We
modules.
had like training days. We wouldn't ship those days, and we would just
train
train
the staff
everybody.
on all the back end.
Yeah.
And now they're trained up to the point where it's
That's
like,
awesome.
They
And I
train new
think that
staff
another
for you.
yeah,
big
they train new staff for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another
Sorry.
misconception is like, you know, bringing on 2 more people. Like immediately he was like, oh, I can breathe, and I'm like, oh my god, we have payroll to meet now.
Yep.
Yes.
You know, and
Yeah.
and a good employee should make you money, not cost you money.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a hard mindset to get around.
Yeah.
But could you guys imagine doing this without Callie?
Absolutely not.
She's worth
We
her weight in
couldn't-
gold.
We couldn't
Yeah.
scale
And-
Yeah.
without Callie because
Yeah.
we would be
Right.
there and not out doing what we needed to do
Sure.
to scale.
And that
Yeah.
also takes time. Like you have to know when you hire an employee, it is a financial hit at the
Yes.
beginning,
At the
and it
beginning,
does
oh,
take
yeah.
time to get that. It's an investment
It
into
is.
your
Absolutely.
business.
Yeah.
It was
And
terrifying.
one thing when I was really young in business, one thing that someone told me that I'll never forget is a true entrepreneur works on their business, not in their
In their
business.
business.
Right? And
I love it.
And
Yeah.
that was the mindset switch.
That was
we
my
had.
mindset
Yeah.
switch at that point because it's very difficult to go, okay, I have to take a step back from this business and go, what am I doing that I shouldn't be doing in the business? Because if you can step back and actually optimize your business, you can help so many more people because now you're providing legitimate income for people, right? And you're building a real business.
Yep.
To me, it's not, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's not like a real business until you are supplying some sort of income for somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, it's a
Yeah.
really, really, it's great to have like you I don't want to say that the wrong way. Like you are a business, right?
Of
It's
course.
good to have to be a reseller and provide income for your family and yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still, you're a sole proprietor
Mhm.
until you become an LLC, and then now you can hire
Yeah.
more people and become like an actual business. And that's not for everybody,
Yeah.
but it is.
It's not for
it's not for
everybody,
everybody.
and that's
No,
okay.
it's okay.
You would
That
get
is
a lot out of.
okay.
I'm not affiliated at all, but read the E-Myth because you're already thinking in those
Yeah.
terms that the book like dives
That's
into.
Ryan.
All right.
Yeah.
So Michael Gerber is the author.
Okay.
One concept he talks about is that he says if you start a company, and he uses the examples of like a plumber and electrician. He says I'm a really good plumber. I'm going to start my own plumbing business, but then you're doing it over and over and over, and burning yourself out and having to go home and do the back end stuff and the accounting and all that. So he talks about if you are doing that, which a lot of resellers are stuck in,
Yeah.
that common occurrence that goes year over year. If you're the reason your business runs, it's not a business, it's a job. You just happen to create yourself
Right.
a job is
Yeah.
what it is. And so when you step back,
Yeah.
write things down, create systems around it, everywhere from like, resellers specifically, because that's, both of our niches. If you have stuff you bought at Goodwill or a thrift store, don't just go home and toss it on whatever opening you see in your garage or your bedroom, wherever you're working out of. You have a system for it. Where's my inbound shelf? Where does
Sure.
it go specifically
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
time when I bring it in?
Yeah.
What days am I processing, meaning photos, listing, cleaning, testing, all
Right.
that stuff.
Yeah.
There's a process to everything. When you start to write that down,
Yeah.
in terms of can someone come in here, read my written checklist or a video and follow that to a T and do it without me, that's when you can hire, whether it's a virtual assistant or a real employee, that's when it becomes an actual business, like I
Right.
said, because then you're working on it and helping the
Yeah.
system.
And then when you do take those systems out of your garage to a warehouse, everything
It works.
transitions. And,
Yeah. One
That's a good
example
point.
he uses I really like is he says, I use an example of a bakery that makes amazing cakes. And he says it's not you're not creating a business to where you make the best cakes in town. You're creating a system that makes the best cakes in town. That system can be run by anybody, right? It's the specific ingredients list. It's the same way franchises
That's
are
so
ran,
true.
right?
Yeah.
McDonald's, for example,
Right.
So true.
Yeah.
massive empire
Maybe
for a
In-N-Out.
reason.
Maybe we should
Maybe
use
In-N-Out.
Let's
Yeah.
use
Yeah.
In-N-Out as
We'll
the
do that.
example.
Speaking of.
Keep
I
McDonald's
know,
out
right?
of it.
In-N-Out.
No, but that's an
We
example
don't
of
want
like
to.
you go to any In-N-Out burger.
You know what you're gonna
You
get.
know what you're getting.
Yeah.
You know the exact same consistency every single
Right.
time.
Right.
And that's just how any business should be run. And that
Yeah.
was ultimately the mental switch, the time that we saw it go from hustle and grind, make some money, oh, we're self-employed, this is fun, until you get burnt out and it's not fun
Yeah.
anymore, which all of us go through. And then that curve happened.
Right.
And then we had systems, employees that run the systems. Now we can say we don't do prep. we run a system that does the prep, right? And that's run by a staff and team. And that might, in some people's reselling business, just be a prep center, which, you know, be like what we do. That may be outsourcing to a prep center that does eBay and Amazon fulfillment, and you use virtual assistants to help do the arbitrage of the products. There's all kinds of ways to do that.
Well, it's also cool to talk to you guys because it shows people that you don't have to do things one way. Like, you don't have to do things the way that we do it to have a successful business.
Yeah.
There's lots of avenues in reselling to build businesses in reselling.
Because there's a million variables that change how you do things.
Yeah.
I mean, so every variable will affect it. There's not going to be anyone that will perfectly carbon copy what you're doing because they don't have 100% of the same variables as you.
Yeah. And one thing that I will say about you guys is that you are some of the most genuine resellers that we've ever met.
It's all fake news.
We're garbage people. We just put on a really we just put on a good show.
No, seriously though, I want you guys to start making YouTube videos again as soon as you can get the time to do it.
We appreciate that.
You're wonderful people.
Train your kids to hold the camera.
Oh my gosh, they would love that.
Just a bunch of mini Callies running around.
Strap a GoPro to Titus's chest.
Yes, it'd be such a good garage.
No, but you should. If I could say anything to you guys to encourage you, it would be cool to see you guys back on YouTube.
Yeah, I think it's like that's his passion. He loves to be.
I'm a creator,
and he likes community.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a really cool thing to plug into and have that community. But it's also like, you know, time and finding the time is always really really
But
tough.
now that, you know, we haven't done YouTube videos in over a year now. You know, because Prep Center took a lot of time to build up, and I found out real quick, like Trista said, we were trying to do all of it. So at the time, before the Prep Center, we were pumping out 2-3 videos a week, which you guys know that's time consuming to do the filming, the editing, all that stuff.
It's a job.
I didn't have Callie, so I had to do my own editing.
Yeah. I mean, I edit mine.
So we had like all this time going into YouTube, 2-3 videos a week. We were doing Amazon, FBA, and eBay just for ourselves.
Yeah.
Then we added in the Prep Center, and it's like, oh, that's fine. I'll just keep all that running and build a Prep Center. It's like, I can't do it all.
For sure.
So we'd make the sacrifices, you know, which we've talked about to build.
We were just talking about this too.
Yeah.
Like, YouTube isn't for everybody, and it takes away from your reselling business.
It does.
So if you are like, if you want to be a reseller YouTuber, and you've been trying for a year and you still aren't, it's still not clicking, it's probably time to stop making YouTube videos and focus on what you're good at, which is reselling. And that's okay. Like the most,
unless you're passionate about.
Well, yeah, it's not
which
cutting
is
into
not
what
most
you're doing.
people. Most people, they have these stars in their eyes that they think it's going to be this like magical cure-all, like golden nugget that they're going to get, and you're like, it's not.
No, and
well, I don't know why you think that.
The most successful resellers I've ever met are not on social media
at all.
Yeah.
So I have a question, because I'm sure everybody knows this, but I actually don't know this. How did you guys, because we watched you when we were starting, I mean, like, we all kind of came up around the same time together.
We're the OGs.
And we were,
I thought you had your channel before we had our channel.
You did.
We started, the first video was December 2015.
But we were really hyper-focused on
it was all Amazon
at the time, and the reason we got into eBay is that we had all of these Amazon returns, and I was like, what do we do with all this crap?
Our garage was such a mess.
But, like, so we watched you guys, and, like, I think that I would, like, watch you pick up Tommy Bahama and be like, oh my god, we'll never find Tommy Bahama.
That's so funny.
And, like, those Bolo brands that are just not Bolos anymore.
The market,
you know,
right?
like,
that's awesome.
How did you guys kind of transition into, like, the vintage stuff? Like, did you always love vintage tees, or?
Yeah.
I've always been a collector. Like, we both have always tried to buy back our childhood. Again, we both didn't grow up very wealthy, and there were things that we couldn't get as kids. So now that we are able to afford stuff, we have tried to buy back our childhood a little bit. But vintage t-shirts for us, like, I've always collected, but it really blew up during the pandemic because there were all these vintage.
Pandy. Sounds way...
The Pandy?
Yeah, it sounds cuter.
So pre-Pandy, when all this was going on.
Adorable. Pop up a little panda.
I love this so much.
So pre-Pandy, there were all these vintage dealers that all they did, which was super successful, was they would gather their shirts and then sell it at markets.
I saw one of these where you went, and I was like, this is amazing. It's like a flea market.
It was a flea market,
So pop-up shops.
We actually went to one of the last, like, big markets right pre-Pandy.
And then the panda popped up and was like, crap. But so what happened is you had all these vendors they weren't on eBay. Yeah. They weren't selling on Depop. They weren't selling online. They were only selling at markets.
And they were not capable of selling online.
Their income was cut off entirely.
Wow.
So they went, and then also physical vintage stores were closed.
Yeah. Sure.
So those people had to have an outlet to sell their stuff. And we went, okay, well, our wholesale supplier of like the big electronic and stuff that we were getting also shut down.
Yeah.
So we weren't getting those. We weren't getting as much stuff. So it was like, okay, these guys need an avenue. We also need an avenue. Let's try to buy in bulk from these people. And at that point, like we had an influx of stuff. We had full vintage stores trying to clear out all of their inventory to us so they could keep their staff on, pay their bills. Like it was out of necessity.
And they have to keep buying to keep their sources. So if they don't move their stuff and sell it, they can't buy more, and then they lose their source literally forever.
Yeah, it's a lot of work gone, like lost.
Yeah.
So that was like a year and a half, and then now it's post-pandy. And everybody knows that we are big vintage buyers. So now it's pretty easy for us now because people reach out to us.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So
but it didn't
It's crazy though, like the pandy. Really, like that's where we pivoted too.
That's when we started.
It was this huge catalyst for a lot of people pivoting their business. Yeah. Sometimes great, sometimes not, but it was just like this really interesting
That is funny. I never made that correlation. We made those pivots at the same time.
Yeah.
Was around that March was official pandy season. And panda season kicked in.
Open season for pandas.
But yeah, I never made that correlation. And the big nugget there is we both understood the need and necessity to pivot.
Absolutely.
And a lot of business owners.
Her shit.
Can we get just a quick shot of Erica? Pop up random directions.
You know that's a merch drop idea, right?
My God.
Where's my list?
Just a panda wearing
I think you get some hate
benefiting
from the panda.
That'll be.
And it'll be I came from the pandy.
Yeah, that'll be a
straight up.
Oh my gosh.
Event special.
So that was like a good place I think to wrap things up. So let's do this. One if you could give us like one final nugget for people to take from what you guys have been through, what would that be? I know that's kind of on the spot.
Little nuggy.
Gosh.
Yeah, my brain's just like, which section do I go to for that one?
Okay, I got a good one.
Nice.
I'm probably gonna take mine like you always do every time.
Ladies first.
Same time.
Right?
Same time.
So in all of this, we've switched things up. We started on Amazon. We moved to eBay. We've taken a lot of risks and done things that are super unconventional. And I think in our minds always it's just been like, there is no plan B. This is gonna work. You just make it work, and whether that means like late nights and hard work or doing the hard mental work of taking yourself out of these roles that you pigeonholed yourself into, it's always a workable situation as long as you're willing to put in the time and the effort. And I mean, it's crazy to sit here and be where we're at, knowing where we were a few years ago even, and like how insanely blessed we are. And then just also from a place of being super blessed, do that for other people. We have our, the way we give back is pretty low key, and you guys, I know, have people that you're giving to and supporting, or just you're supporting this huge community with the information that you've given, and it's so fulfilling and rewarding to get those messages like, hey, you changed my life, and I don't care about this is, and I know that you're the same, like we don't care about the recognition or anything like that. It's just cool to know that if I leave this earth tomorrow, I have helped one person. Pretty great.
And it's almost overwhelming, especially when you come to bigger events, because when you do videos, you put out a video, you get digital comments, right? And it's like it can be 1,000 comments deep. You're like, oh cool, we helped some people. But when you have someone come up to you in person, they're like, hey, I watched your video, I got inspired, I started my own business, and then I was able to support my family and quit my job, and that gets me every time. That one in-person comment will beat 1,000 online comments every time.
True.
That's so true though.
Yeah, and how cool is it that we live in this time where we get to
do that.
do this.
All from your phone.
I
People
mean,
are
like-
like, what's the best equipment to use? Like, use your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
And
anything.
You can.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
It's so
we
great.
started
I mean-
our YouTube channel on an iPhone 10.
100%.
3GS.
When I was young, I knew when I grew up, I was like, everyone would say, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I said, I didn't know, but I knew I wanted to be happy.
Yeah.
I said, I just want to be happy when I grow up. And
Yeah.
I knew that I wanted to be a contributing member of society.
Yeah.
I didn't want to just do corporate things and hurt people or just do my job. I wanted to actually contribute to society. And I think that mattered to me. It doesn't matter to everyone, and that's completely fine. But
Yeah.
that's something that mattered to me. And I do actually feel that when people come up to us.
And
It's
you
like,
don't-
it reminds you are helping people. And it's like,
Right.
thank God,
Yeah.
I did grow up to do something decent.
Yeah. You don't have to be a YouTuber to do that
No.
too.
No.
You know, it's
No.
just like we can give back in so many ways, and you know, I'm kind of drawing a blank about.
But like reselling
Exactly
is recycling.
Yes.
We're helping the
true,
environment.
too.
We're encouraging other people to recycle. We're helping people get their childhoods back. Like you don't need YouTube to help someone
No.
find something that they've been missing for the last 20 years of their life, and then they get it, and you know that's going to sit on their shelf, and every time they look at it, it's going to bring them joy. And you're like, yes, I brought that joy to somebody.
Yeah, and one easy way that the normal average person that's doing eBay, that kind of stuff, can pay it forward is like if you have friends and family that you hear any comments about like financial struggle or anything, like show them eBay to start with, right? We did this for my mom. They struggle with money their whole lives, and even still see them do that. And so finally I was like, are you like, let's get you going on eBay, let's do this. Like we literally do this full time, let's teach you the ways to do this. And I literally went in, provided them with a table, a backdrop, set of lights. Like it wasn't that expensive to get us an eBay set up in their spare room. And then now my mom is addicted to going to the bench every chance she gets.
That's awesome.
It's the happiest I've seen her when she FaceTimes me now at the bench. She's like, look what I found, look what I found, look what I
Oh,
found. Like
that's wonderful.
that,
Yeah, that's great.
that's just,
Yeah.
that's the win for me.
Nice.
Bringing your parents
Is
happiness.
pay it forward just by teaching them the
Yeah.
basics of how to do this stuff.
You brought your mom joy.
Yeah,
that's
It was pretty
amazing.
cool to see.
Well, we love you guys. Thank you so much for doing it,
Thanks
doing
for
this
having us.
conversation. That's
I
awesome.
feel so honored. We're the
No.
first guests on your podcast.
First edition
Yeah.
episode.
And everyone can go to the Side Hustle Network and hit that unsubscribe button.
Wow.
No, show some love.
Show love, show love.
We
Make them
appreciate
go
it.
to their YouTube channel and go comment on the past videos and say make new videos.
Make new
Yeah.
videos.
But what you guys do is so different than what we do, and it's amazing,
Yeah.
and like you're killing it. So
Yeah.
everyone
Sweet.
can do anything differently,
Absolutely.
and everything
Awesome. That was
differently.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yay,
guys.
Sweet. Yeah, hell yeah. Let's go run.
Hey, 6 miles, got it.
No, to In-N-Out.
Where's my lemon bar?
That was good.
Yeah.
No, it says I
Everyone says
came up with
candy.
candy on the spot.
I like